Hello friends. Today we'll be sharing the story of legendary sniper, known as White Death. Simo Hayha was born in 1905 in Rautjärvi, a region near today's Russian-Finnish border. Simo Hayha was a farmer. He spent most of his days in his village, but he was also a good hunter and a great skier. He was exceptionally good with guns and took part in many competitions and won first prizes. He became a legend in shooting sports, especially in the Viipuri province. At the age of 20, he enlisted in the army and did his military service. Almost 15 years later, in 1939, Russians invaded Simo Hayha's native Finland. Simo Hayha was farming in those years, but he knew that he had to do something for his country. At the age of 34, he enlisted in the Finnish army and became a sniper. Soviets were going through hard times because of the wrong policies pursued by Joseph Stalin. Their army was very disorganized, and they had no regular communication among themselves. Simo Hayha served in the 6th Company and 34th Infantry Regiment of the Finnish Army. He would wear his all-white camouflage uniform and go into the freezing cold war zones, choosing the most convenient waiting point. To avoid his position being revealed to the enemy when his gun would go off, Simo would set up a large snowbank in front of him and shoot through it. He would also hold his breath as much as possible and exhale only in the snow, because according to him, even the mist of his breath could reveal his location. Simo Hayha would think about these and many other details in advance and act accordingly. Perhaps a large part of his success lay in these small details. In less than 100 days, Simo killed an average of 5 Soviet soldiers a day, and he did this only at certain times of the day, in a very short period of time. If there was another sniper shooting at the same target at the same time, that shot was not credited to Simo Hayha. Since most of the targets were on the Russian side, the exact number of enemy soldiers he killed was never known. Simo Hayha soon became known as the White Death, a feat so uniformly successful it was unprecedented. In those years, Finnish newspapers often published his picture and referred to him as a legendary hero. This encouraged and empowered the Finnish people. He broke the record for the most enemy soldiers killed in a single battle by killing 505 enemy soldiers. It was also later confirmed that he killed 200 more enemy soldiers with a 9 Swami submachine gun, bringing the number of killed Soviet soldiers to approximately 705. According to his fellow soldiers, this number could be higher but not lower. More importantly, he achieved this result in less than 100 days. Even on days with very little daylight, he killed an average of 7 enemy soldiers, and in a single day he killed a maximum of 25 soldiers. He reached this number with his Russian-made Mosin Nagant rifle. He did not use a separate scope because in that case, he would have had to raise his head even higher because of the already existing optical scope, which would have been a great risk for a successful shot, and any light that would have touched the scope would have revealed Simo Hayha's location to enemy soldiers. There were much more sophisticated weapons available at the time, but Simo Hayha was not trained in them, so he did not take any risks and always used the same weapon. The Soviet Union Army was specialized in snipers. They had a large unit of snipers, including 100 female snipers. Simo Hayha's remarkable success quickly compelled Russians to acknowledge his significance. Something strange was hunting Russians in the forest, and this put them in a difficult position. They even thought at the time that a supernatural being was fighting on behalf of Finland. Many snipers now had their sights set on Simo Hayha, and many times, Russians prepared special units to try to kill him. But each time the units would kneel before Simo Hayha. But on March 16, 1940, the alarm bells rang for Simo, when a Russian soldier managed to shoot Simo Hayha in the left lower jaw. When he was found by the Finnish militia, he was in a very bad condition, but was still alive. After 7 days of treatment, Simo regained consciousness on March 13, 1940. On that very day, March 13, 1940, both sides signed a peace treaty, and the war ended. At the time, many sources reported that Simo was dead, and this rumor soon became common knowledge. Simo underwent difficult and severe surgeries in many cities, especially in Helsinki, and after a long time he managed to cling to life again. Shortly after the end of the war, Simo was promoted by Field Marshal Carl Gustaf Emil Mannerheim, first to the rank of corporal and then to second lieutenant, the fastest promotion in Finland's military history. White Death Simo Hayha was a cold-blooded sniper, but he also had a witty side. In the notes he wrote during the war, he was constantly poking fun at himself and his fellow soldiers, describing the war in a humorous way. Perhaps he was using humor as an escape mechanism. After the end of the war, Simo returned to a farm life, living a quiet, self-sufficient life, a life he had always loved. He also hunted deer and bred dogs, and even hunted with the then president of Finland. When asked in an interview years later about how he became such a good marksman, he answered with one word: experience. In his words, the only secret to his success was that he had been shooting for as long as he could remember. In that same interview, he was also questioned about whether taking the lives of 705 people had a negative impact on his conscience. Simo Hayha answered with a sigh, "I did what I had to do. After all, we were in a war. Either we were going to kill them or they were going to kill us." Reading about war in books or newspapers cannot give you the adrenaline rush you feel at that moment. That environment, chaos, especially when you are under the threat of being killed at any moment, is much more difficult than being killed itself. Observing your friend, who was engaged in conversation with you just moments ago, take his final breath over the course of 2 minutes is an indescribable and profoundly distressing experience. So I did what I had to do, and most importantly, I did not kill anyone who did not enter my territory. Simo Hayha fought bravely for his homeland and became a symbol of courage and hope for Finland. He is now the best-known sniper in the world history and is a legend. Numerous researchers have extensively examined both the weapon and the terrain, attempting to understand how Simo accomplished this remarkable feat. However, this achievement transcended mere legend, proving inexplicable by the confines of science. Simo Hayha died in 2002 at the age of 96. At the time of his death, he was living in a nursing home built for war veterans. Simo Hayha died in Hamina and was buried in Ruokolahti.